your operation, you guys have an attached VFD. This is going to push the air, this is going to tell it what to do, and you've also got controls in there to tell it what to do. The way this is going to work, if your controls go down, they have a hand that you can push, and then you'll set your speed that way. This nameplate here will be your absolute best friend, because on this nameplate, it gives you the model. So this one's a GM7F. What that's telling you is that's the little blower over here on the side. It gives you the serial number. This was manufactured in February of 24. Gives you intake volume flow. They do not give you discharge because it's supposed to be positive displacement. So what comes in should go out. Now we all know that's in theory. There is a little bit of slip, as they call it, that will go back to the intake. And over time, as the sealing strips on the side start to wear, you'll have a little bit more slips. Suction pressure max. So this says 14.66 PSIA. And then they give you a gauge over here that is read in inches. Discharge pressure max. So this design for this one's 6.5. I believe this one's 6.3, and those ones are 6.7. Nominal horsepower, 15 horsepower motor. And each one of these tags has the information. And this unit weighs 1,260 pounds. They've got our address up here and phone number. You guys will all have my number before you leave, before this is over. So if you got any problems, call me directly. If I can't handle it, I'll get you in touch with the person who can. So then we've got spare parts part number. So air filter, and it gives you Airson's part number. So if we look at this one, it is 20,000-49285. So you should have some spares over here. It would be right here. And we've got 20,000-49285. So those are already marked. You'll know which filters fit in which blows. And the reason you've got 4 of the small ones, 8 of the big ones, the filter is sized according to the size of the blower. Quantity and then V-belt. So there's 2 in parentheses. That means it takes 2 belts. All of these are 2. And then it's got a 20,000-54371. And on our belts, you'll have a corresponding number. This is a full synthetic oil, Delta Lube 06. This is Airson's proprietary oil. If you decide to switch to a different oil, please follow the procedure in the manual to switch over to the other oil. That oil does not mix with it. My recommendation, stick with this. For Airson, if the oil caused the failure, it's a warranty item. If for some reason you lose the manuals, it's going to give you a PDF of Airson's blower manual. These ones actually have a lifting device that uses the 30mm wrench. So we'll pop this cover off for a second, and I'll show you where. Biggest thing you're going to do is going to be a 10mm socket. So in here is the oil filter. There's little levers on them. There's one up here on the top and one down here on the bottom on the smaller ones. And then just for example, because I need to give you a warning. When you're going to release it, do not put your fingers below and pull down, because it's right at the edge of this. And when that snaps open, it's going to smash your fingers right into that. So when you're releasing this one, reach back on the tab, pull down. Just putting the back's no big deal. Filter is 1/16 of a turn. It's got 2 little screws back here. And it's got bigger holes and an angle. So it just fits in those holes and you give it a little rotate. The most important part is right here where this pulls through, because this is what goes down in. So as this wears, you're going to end up with a circle on the filter from where all of that air is going through. When you hold it up to the light, you should be able to see through. It should be nice and clear. If it starts to get dark out into here, and you can't see through this area, while the rest of the filter may not be black, your blower is still struggling to get air, because it's pulling most of that right through here. So now it has to pull from here. So your suction pressure is going to go up, When suction pressure goes up, that means the blower's working harder. The blower has to work harder, that means the heat's gonna go up. It's better to replace them more often. The easier it is to get the air, the better it's gonna be. There's this little opening in here on the top, and I do this. And that allows you to look down in and see the actual rotors. So you can see the condition of them, right there on the edge. In a year, you're gonna start to see little striations through that. Different little particulates and stuff starting to go down through. The fibers in this filter will destroy that sealing strip. Every time I put it in, the way I test is I pull from side to side. It can wiggle a little bit because this is what's actually got us. This will push it back in on that seal. It's got a seal on the rear and a seal on the front. And once the clips are closed, it actually puts pressure on both seals. So that will keep everything sealed up. This is the oil reservoir. So it's got a little yellow cap. This has both a positive and negative relief so that it maintains a zero pressure. This is so that we're not pressurizing the oil that's in there. Because for our blowers, we're using a slinger, both front and rear. The outer four are 16 hertz and these two are 19 hertz. And that's all because we don't get enough oil splash unless we're going a certain speed because we've got to throw that oil up onto the back. The oil fill goes in here. I'll grab one of these hoses over here. This is your drain hose. We've got a little cap down here that comes off. It's got a seal, so it doesn't need to be overly tight. And then that's also a check valve. So the little white piece on this pushes the check valve in. I'm not gonna drain it out, but it just screws on back here. If you get this lined up perfectly, the easiest way is to hold the piece back and then start the nut, and then it will screw on properly. If you cross thread it, it's going to be a major pain in the butt because that plastic does not ever want to go back on. This cap just needs to be on there snug. What I always do is I take it down until it touches, quarter turn. That's all it should ever need. The only time it'll need more than that is if for some reason that check valve starts to leak, then you can tighten it a little more, but it's got an O-ring, so when you over tighten it, when you take it out, if you tighten it too tight, you're actually pushing it on the check valve. So when you pop that off of there, there's oil laying in there and you go, oh, it's leaking. No, but the check valves stick out just a hair more than you know. We've got a cooling fan, shaft mounted. So you've got the blower motor. So this has to rotate counterclockwise. That's a requirement for us. That's what allows the slinger in the front and the slinger in the rear to throw the oil in the right direction. We've got a little itty bitty motor here and our belts. For this one, these ones get jacked up. We've got the handle and we got the jack. It won't come out the road. There is a bracket, it should be about that long, and then have a 1-inch high set, and then come out a little more, and there's a little washer mounted, welded to the bottom. It would set right there, that bar would slide in there, come out, and then you use the jack to lift it up. Or you can do Bob's method, which is stick a small pry bar under there, lift it up, and take the belts off. Suction gauge, discharge pressure, and temperature. Your temperature gauge has a little tattletale that tells you what the max temperature's been at. We also have the little red dot up here, the same on all of them. That is a max temperature. They're all set to 300 degrees. If it ever reaches 300 degrees, it's going to open that switch and it's going to have a fault on this drive that tells you high blower. The other device that we've got included is the motor clicks on. And if that happens, you're going to have a high motor temperature. So both faults have been tested, both faults work properly. The other thing you can have is it may not run based on what the controls are saying. It's got to run permissive. If you're trying to run it, you come out and you see something on here and you don't see motor over temp or blower over temp, then that means something on the run permissive in here from controls is not allowed, or it's not getting the run signal. For the suction, Airzon wants you to check the filter once a week. Replace no matter what at 3 months, even if it looks perfect. It's absolutely for the minimum of the first 52 weeks, because you need to find out when the pollen seasons are. Different times of the year affect how much they have to run. You can use all of that data from the previous 52 weeks to calculate out that, hey, you know, during this time period, we're definitely going to need more filters because We got to change them for this reason. I recommend you do it all the time, every week. Because in order to change the belts, once this is lifted up, the belts come off. This cover here has to come off. So you've got the 2 bolts down here, and there's 2 bolts up here on the top. That has to come off. Lift the motor, take the belts off, pull them all the way out, and then fit them back around that thing. I have set it as well as I can to make sure you've got room to slide the belts in. The edges of that circle are very sharp. So just be, whoever's doing it, just be mindful that if you rub against that edge, you will cut yourself. The way it functions, this little section here is where we pull our air from for cooling. So nothing gets placed in this area. Cooling air will get sucked through the louvers back there and come down. Fan on the back of the motor is going to grab some of it, come across the motor, and then this fan is going to pull the rest of it across our blower stage to help keep it cool. You'll notice this one actually has a sticker on it. I'll tell you the level. I have set those. The sticker is equivalent to the 4 sight glasses. It'll be easier to see on the back side. So in each of the 4 corners, we have a sight glass. And that is how I level. So the optimum level is the center of the sight glass. However, I take a picture of all 4 corners, and then I level everything off of that. So we've got the front on that side at the dot, and here's the rear. It's fuzzy, but it's still just a little bit over that dot. This one in the rear is a little bit high, and the front one is also slightly high. But altogether, they equal close to a little bit past half, but not quite all the way up. And that sticker signifies that. As long as it's inside the red circle, it's enough oil to be able to run it. And I said the dot is the optimum level. Me personally, I like the dot to a little above the dot, so that if for some reason it develops a leak, I have time to find it before it doesn't have enough oil in there and locks up. This is our little PRV, or pressure relief valve. They are 750 millibar, or approximately 10.28 psi. So at 10.28 psi, that's going to relieve and exhaust the air right out to the floor. If one of these ever go, you will know it rather quickly. It makes a very loud noise, especially with blowing. It's in high volume on these ones, but it's still blowing all of that air directly on the concrete, so it will be loud. These blowers, when they're running, if all of the panels are on them, I can stand here and talk at this tone, and we can carry on a conversation. You don't need to yell, you're not really loud. The one thing that you guys have that they're sitting, the ones on this end are sitting close to the wall, so you're going to get a little bit of increase in noise amplitude when one of these, or all 3 of these are running.